The HOA president stood there like a queen on a plastic throne, smirking as two police officers made their way toward my vineyard. I just sipped my morning coffee, calm as a monk, while she filmed the whole thing like it was the season finale of her personal reality show. What she didn't know? This was the biggest mistake of her life. Picture this: dawn creeping over Solstice Valley, fog sliding through my grapevines like a ghost on a mission. It's 5 a.m., and I'm out there with pruning shears in one hand and hope in the other when the distant whine of sirens shreds the morning silence. Then comes the crunch of boots on dirt, growing louder, and finally, two cops step out from the mist. Their radios hiss static. And there's Delilah Hartwell, HOA president, neighborhood tyrant, and walking Pinterest board, standing there with her phone, nails tapping like a countdown clock. I could smell her perfume mixing with the scent of wet soil and crushed grapes. She thought she'd won. But here's what I wish I could have told her. Lady, you just declared war on the wrong guy. What would you do if your HOA tried to erase your family's legacy over a petty vendetta? Drop a comment. Tell me where you're watching from. Bet your HOA has tried something just as insane. Let me back up. My name's Marcus Thornfield. 3 years ago, I was a high-dollar corporate lawyer in San Francisco. Suits worth more than most people's rent, billing $400 an hour, thinking I was untouchable, until my marriage detonated. My wife ran off with my law partner. The divorce stripped me cleaner than a casino jackpot. Next thing I know, I'm broke and holding the deed to my grandfather's 40-acre vineyard in Solstice Valley. The old man had been working this land since 1962, back when neighbors waved, instead of filing complaints. Today, half the valley is littered with McMansions and wannabe influencers sipping wine for Instagram clout. I moved into the creaky old farmhouse where floorboards groan like arthritic knees, and my German shepherd, Barl, thinks every delivery truck is a military invasion. But after years of office politics and fluorescent lights, waking up to mist on the grape leaves felt like redemption. The place needed serious work. Irrigation older than disco, tractors held together by duct tape and prayer, but this was my family's legacy. And then she appeared, Delilah Hartwell, HOA president. Picture a Karen with a law degree and a God complex. Delilah runs Solstice Heights like a personal kingdom. Former city council member until voters got tired of her ego. Now she funnels all that pent-up power into terrorizing neighbors with HOA, rules that sound like they were written by a bored dictator. She's married to Preston Hartwell, a real estate developer who builds soulless beige fortresses that all look like copy-paste nightmares. She drives a spotless white Escalade and talks like every sentence needs a trademark symbol. The first shot fired? A fence. Just a basic 6-foot agricultural fence to keep deer out and drunks from wandering in. I'm out there sweating in the dirt when Delilah struts over in heels that cost more than my mortgage. Clipboard in hand, eyes sharp enough to cut. Steal! That fencing violates our HOA aesthetic standards, she snaps. I lean on my shovel. Ma'am, this property's been in my family for 60 years. Your HOA's been here, what, 3? She huffs like I just insulted the Pope. Rules are rules, honey. This is a residential neighborhood now. We have standards. Her word residential dripped with venom, like my vineyard was some disease infecting her perfect suburb. She storms off, slamming her Escalade door so hard it echoes down the valley. 2 days later, I get a certified letter. Cease and desist. Claims my vineyard violates zoning laws. Threatens $500 daily fines. She even CC'd the county inspector, my bank, and the local paper. This wasn't a complaint. This was a coordinated hit job. What Delilah didn't know? I spent 15 years as a corporate attorney specializing in real estate law, and she just gave me the perfect opening. Agricultural land has protections most people have never heard of. Grandfather clauses, perpetual farming rights buried deep in deeds. I called Jake Morrison, an old law school buddy who now fights for farmers pro bono. He laughed so hard he nearly choked. "Marcus," he said, "she just woke up a sleeping bear." Barl, my dog, barked like he agreed. So I went digging. My grandfather's files smelled like dust and nostalgia, but what I found made me grin like a wolf. A 1962 deed with agricultural exemptions so strong they might as well have been carved in stone. Farming rights that trump any HOA nonsense. Sent a certified response that would make a law professor cry tears of joy. Copies of the deed, exemption documentation, and a polite request for the county to confirm my ironclad status. I CC'd everyone Delilah had looped in, including the local paper who probably expected gossip and got a crash course in zoning law instead. 2 days later, the county inspector shows up. Nice guy named Rodriguez. Spent 3 hours inspecting every inch of my property. His verdict? "Everything's up to code, Mr. Thornfield. Your exemption is airtight. Whoever filed this complaint doesn't understand rural law." Translation: Delilah was screwed, but she wasn't done. That night, I got notice of an emergency HOA board meeting. The agenda? Community beautification standards. A cute way of saying, let's destroy Marcus. I showed up. The room smelled like industrial carpet and fake smiles. Delilah strutted to the front like a CEO on stage. PowerPoint slides full of buzzwords about neighborhood character and protecting investments. Then she unveiled her big move, a petition claiming my vineyard was an eyesore dragging property values down. But when she opened the floor for discussion, 3 old-school Valley residents stood up for me. Mrs. Patterson, retired teacher, steel, spine. Marcus's family was here before any of us. His vineyard is what makes this valley special. I watched Delilah's face crack like cheap porcelain. For one beautiful moment, she looked human, panicked. Then she tabled the discussion and whispered to a man in a $1,000 suit with a briefcase that screamed litigation. When she noticed me watching, their chat ended faster than a bad Tinder date. Walking back to my truck, gravel crunching under my boots, I knew this was far from over. Delilah wasn't just stubborn, she was desperate. And desperate people do dangerous things. Next move, a smear campaign. Within days, she launched a Facebook group, Concerned Neighbors of Solstice Valley. She posted pictures of my tractor, making it look like a war machine, and spread lies about health hazards and delivery trucks, endangering children. The posts were crafted like political hit ads. Neighbors stopped waving. Bank loan officers started asking extra questions. Delilah's poison was working. That night, glass of wine in hand, I pulled property records. And what I found made my blood boil. Preston Hartwell, the slimeball husband, owned more valley land than anyone. Realized this wasn't about aesthetics. It was about money. My 40 acres were the last piece in a multi-million-dollar land grab. Agricultural land sells for $8 an acre. Rezone it, $50K an acre. My vineyard was a $2 million payday if they could force me out. I called Jake. He didn't even hesitate. "Marcus, that's a textbook land grab. They're using the HOA as a weapon." So I hired a surveyor and ordered a title search back to the early 1900s. And what he found made me laugh so hard I spilled my wine. Turns out my land stretched 50 feet into the backyards of 3 HOA homes. My grandfather had granted easements for fences but never gave up ownership. And buried deep in the records, a utility easement giving me access rights that could turn Delilah's entire street into a legal minefield. Game on.